Well, hi there, racing fans, and welcome to another edition of Winning Ways, where we got some very interesting stuff on the show today. We got you back.
I'm back.
Yeah.
Fresh.
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 You look in fine shape.
I'm in fine shape. I slept.
Did you have a haircut in Australia?
No, I had it before I left.
Oh, okay.
I had it before I left.
Well, no wonder we can see that whole new look.
So you look, it's just a short haircut.
How's the accent?
My accent?
Yeah.
No, it's changed, mate.
Yeah, okay, mate. And how's your soccer team? I see that they've won a few games.
Yeah, they lost at home after being 1-0 up. No, they murder. Them, Man United, are having one of those seasons, you know, it's like Groundhog Day Sporting Spurs.
How can you put yourself in the same bracket as Man United?
We beat
I thought
them
you
last
were
year.
mortal enemies.
No, I'm just saying we finished ahead of them last year and we might finish ahead of them again. They're so
You will
bad.
finish ahead of them.
They're still ahead of us, but they're not too good.
Well, let's go on to Matters Racing. We're going to be chatting in your call to Mike de Kock. And there are a couple of very interesting things that have come up from his side, from Dubai. And Paul and I will be chatting about the Magic Million sales and then the upcoming sales that are on the horizon here. So let's go and have a look at our three to follow. Well, we're going to go to the Vaal on the 6th of January and go and have a look at a 1200 meter. We tipped strongly the winner on three to follow last time when it got touched off. It ran second. It absolutely doddles in, but it might be worth taking a close look at this filly that Sean Terry trains, Love Struck. Let's go to the start.
Love Token.
Oh, Love Struck's you.
Yeah, Love Struck me. Love Token, there it is coming out. You can see it in the yellow-black colours. Comes out the gate quite nicely. It's a Silvano, this. I think there's a lot to come. Your eventual winner, who is Lumio, has gone to front, also in yellow and black, gone very quickly. But Love Token's never too far off the action. Even though the winner wins well, there's a lot of improvement to come with Love Token.
Yeah, Silvano out of a Fort Wood mare, 1200 meters. She shows good pace. She's always up there in the vanguard, and then she just seems to lose it. And, you know, Sean Terry's horses definitely improved with the run under the belt. I think you'll find big improvement here. Yeah,
you can see the Gavlerin is looking both ways already. You know, he's got Save the Day trying to pressure him, but Save the Day, the sniper gets it soon, and say Chic pushes on to get second. But the horse we found, Love Token, has stuck to his task. It's a good run, this, James.
Well, the filly that won it looked like one of the most impressive fillies. She's a Toreador filly. Very, very impressive. And
there's some very good Toreador fillies around at the moment.
Yeah, Ferraris has got one that's unbeaten.
Sure, she's
this bomb absolutely doddles in. I think Toreadors are a very useful stallion.
So do I. So do I. We're not scared to put my hand up. I think I paid 320 for one this year.
Good.
I like the Toreadors.
Well, that doddles in. The third horse is the horse that we picked up here in the yellow colours, Love Token. Let's move on to Kenilworth, and we go to the 7th of January. That was on the Wednesday. Let's go and have a look at the Mike Bass trained Good Grace. Falls out the pens here.
Yeah, absolutely. Good Grace is one you're going to have to follow. Doesn't know what's going on. This is completely left of the gate. Gets harassed and chased up to try and get over some pace. You know, down the inside, I think it's 7th Feather, who shows good speed. This horse tucks over to the outside group, and there's a lot of speed on, but the race only sort of gets into action in the last 400 metres or so when Good Grace really runs on well. The winner's another comfortable winner in Come to Daddy, James.
Yeah, she won a nice race, but she's had a few runs already, Come to Daddy. This is her fourth run. And she's a Rebel King. She won quite nicely, but I like the look of this filly, Good Grace. She's beautifully bred. She's another Silvano out of a Northern Guest mare. But she's now one of the left-hand side group on the inside. And
in
she's
the middle of the course.
Yeah, right in the middle of the course. She's behind the horse with the white colours.
Yes.
And
a lot to do.
Yeah, absolutely. The winner now goes for home.
Yeah, the winner's clear.
She's now 7th or 8th, this filly, in the blackish. She looks like black colours. Yeah. It's the right-hand side of the outside group. Runs on really strong.
To run the exacta, she's really put in a bold finish, because the winner's got the outside fence, has given it to nobody, and you can see the black cap coming between them. This is Good Grace. This will go close next time. It's from Michael Bass's yard with Grant van Niekerk up.
Yeah, very nice run indeed. And, you know, you just look at horses like that. It's owned by a chap called Georgia. You know him? George.
Not Mr. George's brother, Tony.
Yeah, Tony Georgia. Yeah. And Abrams Burr. Yeah, I think you know.
Which Burr? Eric Burr?
Eric Burr, yeah. And
Okay.
Tommy Smith. So there's a hell
Tommy
of a bunch
Smith,
of them,
Australian.
Yeah, Tommy Smith. Let's go and have a look at the third one of our three to follow. And we picked up one that won because it was very impressive. This was Met Day. Let's go and have a look at
Met Day.
Met Day, Queen's Plate Day. Longron's Queen's Plate Day, 10th of January.
There it is, you can see it. And again, another one that doesn't get out. It's the one that gets left in the pink. And they elect to move it over towards the inside, Greg Sheen, because the speed is on here. And the horse to beat, I thought, might have been a horse like Matari, who ran second. But you'll see it getting closer in the race in those spring colours. That's Cathy Pacific.
It's a very nice big filly that she's by Royal Air Force, who's probably one of the underrated sires around.
I agree with you.
Produces
I agree.
nice big horses.
Big horses, James, and they can run. I remember when Jeff Friedman stepped out one.
Riff Raff.
Riff Raff. Very nice horse too. And this is and there's a couple of others. So a stallion to keep an eye on. But here you can see it's sort of 5 off the right-hand side. A big girl. She's moving up. And Matari's at the front. Matari's been punched out by Pierre Corner off as if it's going to win. But have a look. It's a tad cozy, this Greg Sheen. He realises he's got their measure about here. And he's not going to punish it. He realises, I've got the leader. They're not going to catch me on the outside. And just punches it out. This is a nice horse.
Well, considering that it got left, it was obviously the big day, and they obviously got it lined up, but she was a big price. She ended up 40 to 1 in the betting. And it's owned by the Kotzen team. I think Glenn's son owns it. Carl, I think it's his
Carl.
Carl.
I think, yeah. So
And
he loves his racing, his son, so he's always at the race course.
And it's bred by Judy Wintle, so, you know, there's a whole family thing. And
well done to all of them.
Big City Life, I think so.
Yeah, that's right.
Obviously got some idea of what's going on, because let me tell you, to breed a Royal Air Force filly like this.
They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, Glenn did a fantastic job getting this ready. Nearly blew it all at the start, but Craig Sheen, very good rider.
Very good. He's riding so well since he's come back from overseas. Well done to Kotzen gang. That was Cathy Pacific.
Right, we're going to go and move on and have a look at Met Day. That's why I'm so excited, Met Day coming, and Blast from the Past. We're going to look at the Cape Derby from last year.
In America to complete the lineup for the Investec Cape Derby, 1 million rand at stake. They go 2,000 meters. He's in, we're all set, we're ready to go, and fired away to a nice level beginning. Orion responded quickest of all on the far side. He's going up to look for the early lead. Also going up handy, Helderberg Blue. This time he's going to race right up in touch with the leaders, and Cape Cutter's right there too. Just in behind is Count's Rocket, now settled back in third. They followed by Power King along the inside, racing back in fourth. Strongman is now taken hold of that bit, and he's moving past horses up on the outside to improve his position. Marmalade Tycoon races next, about 6 off them. Tracked then by Captain America, races 7 lengths off the leader. Orion, after alert start, is now eased back. Racing in behind that, Legislate must be 10 lengths off the lead. And Mountain Master is your trailer. Count's Rocket sets the pace as they go down towards the 1200. He's opened up now, deleted by 4 lengths. Cape Cutter racing in second. Strongman's gone to race in third. Helderberg Blue races behind those in fourth. They being followed then by Marmalade Tycoon. Power King is back at the fence and he's 12 lengths off the lead. Ryan races back on his outside, just ahead away. Legislate in behind that. Captain America's biding his time back, 1 from last, and Mountain Master is your trailer. Count's Rocket, as they go to the 800, he's opened a huge lead. He's now got away by 12 lengths. Count's Rocket by 12 with Cape Cutter racing back in second. Strong Man in behind that, races in third. They being followed by Helderberg Blue along the inside. Marmalade Tycoon races outside of that. Then comes Power King and Captain America well back as they straighten up now and head for home with just on 500 meters left to go. Counts Rocket try to steal the Derby. He's out in front by 6 lengths. That's the one they've all got to get to. Racing in behind him, Helderberg Blue, Orion towards the outside. Strongman's behind these. Captain America is weaving his way through the traffic, and Power King took a very bad check down towards the inside. They race down to the final 100. Legislate now comes out to pick it up, and it's Legislate who's come forward to pick it up. Now Captain America sets out after him. Legislate's in front though. Captain America is unwinding his run, but he's going to come too late, and Legislate has won it from Captain America. Orion was in behind those. They were then followed across the line by Helderberg Blue, further back in running.
Well, that gives you an idea.
Yeah, it's gone on to be the Derby field. We've seen that just as last weekend, 3 of them were locking horns again, and 4 of them ran on the day, and Arthur Marcus thought it was 1,800 metres.
Yeah.
He went very quickly. You don't often see that.
No.
With, what do you have? Counts, Rocket.
Yeah.
He rode for Glen Cost. They went quickly, eh?
Went very quickly. I've never seen a horse, except Apprentice ridden, there were 12 lengths clear.
What about Arthur?
But he obviously had some plan.
Yeah, he had a plan. When he was 400 out, he was 68th. Thought, well, maybe I can burgle it. But this was the turning point, James, in Legislate's career. From here on, he became a superstar.
Well, then I think he was unbeaten from here on. I think he came down here, won the Guineas down here, and then he won the July, and just looked like he was
Daily News.
Invincible.
That's
Daily
right.
News in July, he just won everything.
His first 7 starts, he had 1 win, Legislate. And then he really turned it around to become a superstar. And this was the start. He went off at 28-1 here. Everyone thought Captain America would be hard to beat. He ran a good race, Captain America. And the third horse, James, Orion, has subsequently proved it that he's up in that league.
Well, it certainly showed it when you look at the results from the weekend, at which we're going to show that race anyway. The Peninsula, it will be very interesting to see what happens. But the Derby, the Investec Cape Derby, is always a great pointer to what the best horses around are. You know? I think that this was no different.
No different.
When you see the top 4, they're all very, very good horses in their own right, all group horses.
Yeah. Will Joey Ramson go for it? He's got a couple of options now.
Where's he going to?
The Conglomerate, Active War. He's got a couple of very good options for this race.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that.
Million Rand Group 1 race. Joey must have got a very strong hand at the moment.
Very interesting to see what happens come Met Day at the end of the month. Let's go and have a look at our Plum.
Don Stroy's got a ton of work to do as they reach the final 300 metres. It's Grand Opera who's got first run. Diesel Jet is out in second. It's a length away. Then comes Cedar Wood and the Golden Boy, but now Diesel Jet seems to have the measure of Grand Opera past the 100. Cedar Wood is out in third, and Diesel Jet is going to go away for victory. Second to Cedar Wood, then came Grand Opera, and fourth going the way of the Golden Boy.
Well, Erico Verdenese has always been a very good trainer, and the time before this ran, it was 16-1, and he tipped it to Molly. He said this will run in the first 3. It ran second, and then you had to follow this horse, and he was.
They put the money down.
7-2, 4-1 on Interbet, much as you wanted, and he ended up starting 22-10 with the bookmakers, but you could have got 5-2, 28-10, 3-1 even pre-race. And you know, when you got Stratum on, and there are a lot of things that you like about it. Was a jockey strike, you know.
Nicely bred horse, James.
Yeah, beautifully bred by Vilga Bostruff.
By Jetmaster out of Western Wintermere.
Yeah, very nice.
Well done to Erico, and that was the Plum of the week, Diesel Jet.
Yeah, and as we said, nice horse. Certainly might be worth having another look at him in the future. Let's go and have a look at current affairs, where we've got some big racing from the Cape.
200,000. Sold for 1,200,000.
There we are, Val de Vie. That's well done, that advert. Let's look at the racing. We had some really good stakes racing coming out of Cape Town and one in Gauteng over the weekend. But most eyes pointed towards Cape Town because, James, a big day, the Lormerans Queen's Plate Day.
Absolutely amazing day. You'd love to be there. It looked like there were pictures in the newspapers on Sunday of all the fashion and the people that were there, and some wonderful racing. And you know, they put on a 12 race program, which we've been doing in KwaZulu-Natal for quite some time now, and went off absolutely brilliantly. You know, obviously.
I see, James. I watched the races. It was obviously during the night. The races I watched, they all seemed to tack towards the outside.
Yeah, it was very interesting. That it seemed like there's a bias towards the outside.
Was there a bit of rain?
I'm not sure what. You know, it's quite amazing when you watch the races. You see some of the horses that go down the inside actually ran very well, but the jockeys decided that the outside was the place.
Yeah, they get a bee in their bonnet, and that's all. They must know.
You actually watch the Paddock Stakes. It's very interesting because drawn wide, the kid Fanika, he rides a brilliant race. He gets trapped wide, and he doesn't decide to go down the outside where he would never have got a run. You know, Bernie went early on a filly that probably doesn't stay.
Yes.
But let's get to that when we get to that. Let's start with the Peninsula, which was Orion.
It's a grade 2 race. It's a very good race. And we were talking earlier about Orion, Power King and Helderberg Blue. Watch them lock horns again.
They're in line for home. They've come off that false rail. Chestnut's Rocket is out on the lead. Has the lead by a couple. Helderberg Blue has him in his sights and now starts to creep closer with each and every call. Sarissa is back towards their inside. Ryan's got running in him too, just in behind that. And Power King is also starting to close. Punta Arenas is back towards their inside. There are plenty of chances. Helderberg Blue, Ryan now comes forward to put on the pressure. And Power King is in pursuit up the outside. Ryan has burst into the lead now. Helderberg Blue trying to come back for more. And Power King is unleashing a good effort up the outside, but Orion is in front, and that's where he's going to stay. Orion stays on from Power King. In behind that, Night Chip came out late for third. Helderberg Blue flat to the boards, was back in fourth.
Well, here we are. This horse has bounced right back to his best, winning this grade 2. He was always touted as being a good horse. I thought he was just off the top, but maybe he's maturing into a very nice horse, James. He won a good race. Yeah,
he had a year off. Apparently, he had a knee chip. He galloped with Legislate and did a knee chip, and he's certainly a very nice horse. And you know, the Snace consummate horsemen, and they get these horses back. It might cost money to get them there.
Yeah, they got that Dynasty back the other day that Sean Cormack won on for Hassan. You're right. But this is, again, the usual suspects fighting it out, but Orion's come on to be best. I thought Richard Free rode a very good race. Power King, perennially concerned when there's Cape racing.
Well, the interesting thing is, if you look at Orion and Helderberg Blue, there was about the same distance between them as there was in the Derby last year, which was the same time.
Yes.
Helderberg Blue's been gelded subsequently, and they thought he'd come on. He's certainly behaving better, but he might have got to the front a bit early. You know, lots of things that one worries about. But I think they pretty much run to form, these three.
Yeah. Well done to everyone concerned with that. Also, I think it's Greg Bortz. I saw.
Yeah, Greg Bortz, Hassan, Paul Looms, Etienne Braun. You know, all big supporters of the game.
Big supporters of the game. Well done to all the owners. Well done to Justin, and of course Richard Free. Then we move on to Politician Stakes, and decimated with 5 scratchings. James, I was away, as I said.
Yeah, I think that was a pity because the Act of War, Liquid Mercury, won during the week, but it was still a race that one wanted to see.
Yeah, you always want to see these races. Why did Act of War come out?
I'm not sure, but the point is that
nothing to prove, has
he? I think he had problems leading up to the last run.
Yes.
You know, there might be underlying things that Jay doesn't want to take a chance with, but Jay, He had the backup, and he ended up winning it. And this is a very nice horse. I think
I remember when he won early this horse. He's a beautifully bred horse. He's a Lonro, and I thought he was going to be a good horse. I thought Miljet, I don't know how you pronounce the horse's name. You know,
ML Jet.
Yeah, I believe that's not right. But anyway, for Michael Leaf's sake, we'll stick with
Michael Leaf's initials are ML.
I know that, but I don't believe that's the reason. I stand to be corrected, but I thought he'd be the right horse, and he ran a good race.
Yeah.
Let's go and have a look at it. This is the Politician Stakes. It's a Grade 3 race.
We got Seize the Throne, Shared Trouble is on the inside rail. Next we got the Conglomerate, being followed by Balance Sheet Honeston, and behind that we've got Pianzino, who's whipped them in as they flatten for the run to the judge, head towards the 400. They're racing middle, outside, stand side. It's ML Jet that continues to roll in front. The Conglomerate is going up on the outside of him to make a run for it. Down the inside we got Seize the Throne, and along the inside Imperial Gold, but into the final 200 ML Jet continues to go. The Conglomerate starts to loom up on the outside. It's ML Jet, but the Conglomerate is all over him into the closing stages, and the Conglomerate has breezed on by. The Conglomerate gets up to win it. From in second we got ML Jet. Then behind that came...
Well, there we are, an improving horse who's staking a claim now for the Derby. This horse, well done to Derek Marcus and Ingrid. Joey Ramsden, another very good horse he's got here, and improved. The front two were well clear of the rest, James.
Yeah, I think that they are well clear of the rest as far as ability is concerned. They look like the best that came out of this race. Although it's a conditions race, I still think that you're not going to find anything beating these two that ran behind them.
Yeah, I see those 3 kilos that ML Jet had to give to the winner, but Striker Stratum now, he lurked up the outside. He thought, this is where I'm going to go.
He's just...
They started moving over. Then we move on to Paddock Stakes. This is always a good race. It's a Grade 1 race for fillies and mares, and some great horses have won this over the years. And it looks like Mike Bass has got his string ticking over nicely. He was placed in the earlier features we've just spoken about, and here he took the cherry.
Well, this filly ran second to Majmu. So, she did look like she had the ability. She had a wicked draw to overcome. And I thought, Grant van Niekerk is a young man plying his trade. He's still got a lot to learn. But he did certainly ride a very, very good race on this. And let's go and pick him up, because it's quite interesting to watch this filly. She really doesn't look like she's got any chance. Athena comes from the back, and I think she ran the run of the race was Athena's. But very interesting to watch it.
Yeah, let's watch it.
Up the 1800, all clear. And away they go. Bit of an untidy beginning, this one. Acro Star and Athena lost 1 and 2 lengths respectively coming out of the gates. First to break the line was Inara. Up there with the speed, we got Ash Cloud and Maybe Yes. He's pushing through between runners. Pine Princess is also up there in the thick of things, and Jet Aglow is racing on the rail. Pushing past her on the outside, we got Jet Supreme, and on the move too, 3 deep. We got Hammy Zuka improving position all the while. Behind that, we got Inara, who's now dropped back to race about 5 lengths off that leader. Then comes Jet Bell. Shingwedzi half back on the inside rail, easily 12 lengths off that leader. A length and a half behind that comes Pecan Nut, who's sitting on the outside of Grey Light. 2 lengths further back, we find Athena, who's racing back 1 from last, and Acro Star. He's sitting at the end of a stretched out field. About 20 lengths cover the field through the middle of the bend, past the 800-meter mark. In front, it's Ash Cloud that's cleared off and stretching them out to lead it by 3. Pine Princess in the yellow racing in second. Hamizuka at a girth in third. On the rail, we find Baby Hiss. Then comes Jet Supreme. Jet Aglow is going to corner about 8 lengths off that leader. Next comes Inara, being followed by Jet Bell Shingwedzi. Grey Light is further back. Then comes Pecan Nut. Behind that comes Athena and Acro Star. They've all made a beeline for the outside rail as they settle for the run to the line. In the main chance farms, Paddock Stakes, and Hamizuka can wait no longer. She comes forward and takes up the running. Jet Aglow is on the chase. Along the inside, we got Maybe Yes. The 3-year-old Inara's running an absolute cracker. We're into the final furlong. Hamizuka hot up against the outside. Jet Bell is getting going between runners. Inara's along the inside. It's the sponsors blue of Inara in front, and the sponsors blue of Jet Bell up the outside. Athena flying along the inside, coming to the wire. Inara kept going from Athena. Then came Jet Bell and Pine Princess.
Well, what a good result there. Mike Bass has got this horse to win this Group 1. First Group 1 for the young rider, young Mr. Fanico, because he's first Group 1, so he's over the moon. The humble hero, Joe Soma, he took Athena into town, couldn't get the break on the outside fence, James?
He never got a run until 200 to run. Athena was dead unlucky in this race. And, you know, I've always touted her. Last year I touted Athena might be a July filly. I think she is really, really good. And I think that they're getting to the right type of trip with her now, because she stayed on the best of everything to run second. It
was a good win by the winner too. Mike Bass done a wonderful job with this, and couldn't have been better for the owners on a big day like that.
Well, I think he's won the Gold Cup for them, for the Ruperts,
right,
and he's now won this for the Ruperts.
The Paddock Stakes,
you know, maybe you know, that trip to Leopard Creeks
helped him
in the offing. You know, I think that's what he wants to do. Walter, I think he's dying to go.
Good fillies finding out. Mike de Kock's filly runs a fair race in fourth. Pine Princess, she's not beaten too far.
Very nice run,
Very nice run. A couple of them. Hammy's Hooker, James, anything to say about that?
Just went very early. She battles to get the 1800, and I think that probably was her undoing. You know, she went top of the straight. And she just doesn't get the 1800. Just going back to Inara, it was interesting listening to Gaynor on the television after the race, and a lot of people don't pick up post-race interviews.
Yes, of course.
I just wanted to tell you the story. She bought the mare from Lady O'Reilly. And Lady O'Reilly phoned her. She didn't realize she bought it from her. She bought it on a sale, obviously. And said, "I'm sorry you bought such a terrible mare. We can't get her in foal."
Okay.
And Gaynor then put it to Trippy, and this is the resultant foal, which is just fantastic, because obviously the mare's got some really good blood.
Another Group 1 for Trippy. Just spare a thought for the second and third horses. You know, they carried 59.5 and 60 as opposed to the winner's 54.
Yeah, so well, that's weight for age.
Correct. Well done to Athena and Jet Bell. Both ran great races. But Inara, all the accolades go to you. Well done to Walter. Walter's really a top man.
Oh, he's a top man. He's as long as he doesn't jump from the balcony. Anyway, let's move on and go and look at the Queen's Plate.
Continue on his championship ways.
In a straight line, ready to go at the 1600. All clear. Racing in the Lomorag Queen's Plate, and Futura was just a little bit slow to go. Paterfamilias dropped back shortly after the start. The 3-year-old King Vault began the quickers. Ashton Park is pushing past him on the outside. Then comes Talina, who's moving up on the outside of Legislate, who's racing on the heels of the early speed in those blue colours, and he's settling to race about 3 lengths off the leader. At his girth, we find Louis the King. Then it's Gold Onyx, Jet Explorer. Paterfamilia's back, one from last. And Futura is racing at the end of a compact field. I'd say 9-10 lengths cover them with 1,000 metres left to go. Ashton Park has found the lead. Talina has gone up to race at his girth in second. And neck away on the inside comes the 3-year-old King Vault, white sleeves and cap. Louis the King and Legislate. Those two are side by side, and they're going to corner 4 lengths off the leader. Jet Explorer, Gold Onyx, then comes Futura, and Paterfamilias is last to swing in the Lomorag Queen's Plate with 600 metres left to go. They're all coming up the outside. Ashton Park leads them into the home straight as they flatten for the run to the judge. Talina is in second. Look towards the inside. The sponsors blew off Legislate. He's still under a tight hold, and he's starting to move into contention. King Vault is between runners. Louis the King is still 2 lengths off the leader. Futura's going along the inside. Stand side, it's Ashton Park. Legislate has come under a ride. Futura gets driven into the lead with 100 metres left to go. Ashton Park, Louis the King over the top. He's wearing down Futura, drawing to the judge. Futura beats Louis the King. Gold Onyx, Jet Explorer, Talina, Ashton Park, King Vault. Then came Legislate.
Well, Futura bounced back in great style there. Well done to Brett Crawford and all his owners. I saw Liesl King and put some photos of this horse frolicking on the beach the day before. Looked very well. Brett's done a good job. Got him right back there winning the Queen's Plate. You know, he's had 2 runner-up seconds in the last 2 years in this race.
Interesting, this horse had that setback in his training. Apparently, he lung washed dirty, had a bad scope before the diadem. Futura.
Okay.
Now, the reason why Legislate ran so badly is because he obviously has got a virus, and that he scoped very badly after the race. So, you know, that shows you...
Put a line through it, you know. What interesting point James brought up just before the race, that Legislator's obviously not run his race, he's a champion, but he holds the course record, and that's at 95 seconds and change. They ran it in 1:01, James. That's
well, they
Cape
ran it exactly 6 seconds slower than the course record that he holds, which he broke 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So Legislate holds the course record, and he ran 30 lengths or 35 lengths inferior to 35 lengths inferior to what he ran 2 months ago.
Did the Cape Crawl a bit to do with it? They didn't go fast.
I think they went very slowly. I think that, you know, obviously the Bass team had a plan with their horse, try and go there and make it. When Gold Onyx runs third, you got to
good to see him bouncing back. He's a Group 1 winner. You know, Jet Explorer, nice to see him here. That big fall at Clarewood, and he had his jaw wired up. He's come back. Louis the King, again, looking for rain room on the outside. Very good horse.
I think, you know, he's just an amazing, amazing horse. And he should be a national hero, this horse, because he's something very special.
Yeah, he's a very good horse.
He's as gutsy as they come. He puts in his best, doesn't matter what trip it's all about. He's obviously a little horse with a very, very big
James,
heart.
how does this change the picture for the Met?
Well, the point is what happens with, you know, Legislate. By all accounts, everyone said Legislate will win the Queen's Plate on his head and then win the Met.
Yes.
Now what happens?
Now what happens? Well, James, they've got a few weeks to get him right, to clear up any problems with his track here or further down. They've got now Futura, who's really coming through to his best. Louis the King obviously will be a shake-up. Any news on whether any of the Joburg, the rum years or anything like that's going down?
No news at this stage, and obviously, you know, we're going to be chatting to Mike about various things, and we do chat about the African horse sickness problem that we have, and that's coming up in your call. But, you know, we just got to wait and see what happens and who comes to the party. I don't think all these things detract from what a wonderful event this is.
Oh, I agree with you.
You know,
I agree.
And what I mentioned last week is that I think that should be mentioned again. I don't think this race is worth what it should be worth. This should be a R2 million race at least. It is a fantastic, fantastic race. You get the best horses around, and when you get a Group 1 that's as rich in history as this is, it seems a shame that you're not racing for enough money for it.
I agree with you. It's a great race. It's a great day. It's one day you want to be there and racing. So people are going back with different opinions now. Obviously, Legislate, Justin Snaith wants to get his big horse back. Brett Crawford couldn't be in a better place going. And Louis the King, they've got to be excited because they're going to get an extra 400 metres. And there's a few others going to step into town. I'm really looking forward. King Vault, 4.5 lengths back. Not a bad run by the 3-year-old for dead pace.
Well, I think that Joey probably put him in there to get some sort of idea of where he stands with his other 3-year-olds. He's got some cracking 3-year-olds. Yeah. And I don't know that the form of this race is going to work out.
Neither do I. At that time, you know, when you work it out, he was like King Vault ran 1:02, and he's run quicker times than that. I think the whole field is.
Although you cannot detract from the winner.
No.
The winner came from Stone Blast. Okay. He ran past a whole lot of them.
Yes.
And Louis might have got a run late to run second, but let's not take it away from Futura. You know, I seem to remember about 8 months ago, before the July, I tipped this horse to you as a July horse, and you said it wouldn't even get into the July.
You were very big on Futura.
This horse, I think, is a very, very good horse.
There's no doubt. He proved it after. He proved it in the July. He proved it afterwards, and he trotted up here. He runs on any course. Very good horse, and well done to owners. I saw them all there whooping it up, leading it in.
Yeah. Jack, John, and Longwell.
Is Jackson Legislate too, is he?
Yeah. No. Jack and Ian Longwell. They were both in...
I saw them.
Ian Longwell was in Jackson, I thought we were talking about.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, they're
quite lucky together, those two.
Yeah. Let's hope that they have many more very big race winners, and certainly to win the Queen's Plate is a feather in anyone's cap.
Absolutely. Well done to all connected. Let's go to Joburg. There was a Group 3 up in Joburg, and it's the London News Stakes, and we saw Jeff Woodruff getting a little bit of compensation as he saddled the first two past the post. Let's go and look at the Group 3.
got 7 or 8 lengths to make up. Then came Heart of a Lion, Kahlua Castle, yellow and red colours towards the outside of runners. Henry Higgins was dressed up along the rail. Then came Earl of Derby and Mountain Master. Off the false rail, 500 metres from home. Victory Cruise is tackled now by Rake's Chestnut, who's worked his way into a handy position. 2 lengths away then to Sabadell, Booklet top. Kahlua Castle's making progress, but he's got 3 to make up. Then came Leolup Jet past the 300. Rake's Chestnut, a narrow leader. Here comes Kahlua Castle on the outside. Sabadell and Booklet top try and launch challenges together, but Kahlua Castle hits the front. Sabadell's in second. Kahlua Castle's too good and too strong, and Kahlua Castle wins the London News. Second is close, maybe Judicial, just ahead of Sabadell and Mountain Master from last, also doing its best.
There we go. This has always been a good horse. As you say, James, he went very early. It was at the Summer Cup when he lost to his stablemate, and I think they've said wait a little bit longer. Won very comfortably.
Obviously a very, very good horse, and he did win it well. He gave weight, and the third horse ran a nice race. The fourth horse came from the back.
Walter.
Mountain Master, yeah, came from the back with Daryl Daniels on to run fourth. Rake's Chestnut stopped quickly.
He looked comfortably like he was going to win it at one stage, and then didn't hit the placings. Not beaten too far, but he has turned it up in his last 2 runs, James.
Maybe he doesn't get the distance, you know. Maybe he's just a 7 furlong.
Didn't he? Wasn't he runner-up in the Daily News?
Yeah.
He was just beaten by Legislative
that
Daily News. That was 10 furlongs. I don't think it's a trip.
Yeah.
But he's a good horse in his own right. Looking down the field, Booklet top, Earl of Derby, you know, they never really fired. But well done to one concerned with this Australian-bred Kahlua Castle.
Well beaten. This horse is a very nice horse, and this horse might be the right horse for the July next year.
Yeah.
He comes in with the right type of weight. He's got a lot going for him. I think he might be a long-term July looker.
You're always looking for those, aren't you? You're sniffing around early, James.
You want to get an idea of where you think that the value might lie. You know, certainly when the betting opens for the July in March or April.
You like to sneak a bit of 40 to 1.
Well, Kahlua Castle, I think you'd probably be getting a big price about. But anyway, that's a lot from racing around the world and racing around our part of the world. I don't think there's much else in current affairs, because we've got the big chat to Mike de Kock coming up in your call, and then Paul and I will discuss sales.
And going for 1,200,000. Sold for 1,200,000.
Hi, welcome to another edition of Your Call. Let's go straight to our interview. James talking to Michael de Kock earlier today.
Well, all the way from Dubai on the line with Mike de Kock. Nice to have you on the show, Mike. How's the weather looking there?
James, yeah, a little cloudy and overcast, but not bad enough to keep on off the golf course.
Yeah, but the point is that you might get a bit of rain and help that dirt track, because it looks like the kickback is terrible and looks like it needs certainly some help.
Yeah, it needs it badly. It reminds me a little bit of when VAR first started. We used to have some really, really shocking kickback. it's not dissimilar at all. You know, the sand is just not tight. It's a new track. It's really forgiving, funny enough. I enjoy training on it. But at this stage of the game, it's not a great racetrack.
Well, it certainly looks like, unless you've got speed and strength, and that seems like the typical American way, and the horses are running much slower at the end than in the beginning, you've got no horse for the course.
Well, you know, if you listen to Jerry Spargo, the one comment where he said it's a war of attrition out there, and that's basically what it is. I mean, they just get out, go 100 miles an hour, and whoever lasts, lasts, you know. If you don't have that type of horse, you know, you're in trouble. And a lot of these horses that come from the all-weather and the turf, you know, they used to be given a chance running on, as opposed to just going flat out and staying on sort of thing, you know. So, you know, it just changes things completely.
What is your feeling? You know, I know that I'm a purist. As far as I'm concerned, I like races to be run where the horse is doing its best work at the finish, and they're able to then see which is the horse that quickens up best and runs on best. And this track seems to be the antithesis of that.
Yeah, it's exactly. It's just typical of the American scenario, James. What it's done as well is, you know, I think you're going to find fewer and fewer Europeans participate on the dirt races. You know, it's sad, but it's unfortunately that's the reality. You know, people try the all-weather with their grass horses, and a lot of the grass horses adapted. But I mean, you even see it at the Vaal, funny enough. I mean, a lot of us take horses there thinking they'll win because they work well in the sand, they run last. You just don't try again, you know.
Yeah, it's, I don't know, is it going to last, or is it going to bring more Americans, which is seem to be the plan?
It's definitely the plan for Americans, and it's going to. I mean, it's going to be very hard for us or Europeans to win on the dirt on World Cup night. You know, unless you get a really nice, good dirt horse out of Argentina, or possibly one of the really successful at the Vaal. But it does just narrow things down a little bit, you know.
The thing that worries me, and you've got Pylon there, obviously, from the Vaal. The Vaal, because of the long straight, you don't seem to go as hard out the pens as they went, certainly on Thursday night. And a horse is able to find its stride. A horse like Pylon, you know, he's a galloper. Yeah. He's like a diesel engine. But if he doesn't get there in the first furlong, isn't he going to be in trouble?
Gone. Finished.
Yeah.
You don't get, you see anything, you can be sitting third and fourth on the rail, but you're getting that kickback, and they see those horses just start to fall back. And in fact, the jockeys are even saying that they cost in running. I mean, I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just, it's unfortunate, you know, but, you know, it's a young track. I'm pretty sure that they know exactly what's got to be done. They've got to tighten it up somehow. You know, get in experts or add more clay or something. But it's, you know, it's just not. You know, a lot of them shrug their shoulders and say, "Oh, well, that's the nature of dirt racing." I mean, if that is racing, you know, do you really want to participate? I mean,
yeah, the other two things that people seem to forget is that the Americans race on Butte and Lassex, and that seems conducive to dirt racing.
Of course, yeah. Absolutely. Well, you know, it's hard. It's hard for them to come back from those races very often. It's changed the complexion of things completely. It's different to Nadal Sheba was. You know, it's not the same track. I mean, we still Nadal Sheba used to kick, but it would kick back in clumps, not in this fine dust.
Okay, well, let's move on to the positives. You ran a horse we wanted to put up here. Unfortunately, we didn't have the footage. Ajib, who ran a great race. So how did you come about getting him? And, you know, that looked like a really good run.
Yeah, actually got him last year, James. He was too unsound to run when I got him out of Australia. He rested. Sheikh Mohammed bred him there. Very nice horse, and I think a horse worth following at least.
We've got racing this week. What does it look like as far as the week's concerned? Are there any turf races for you? Have you got anything that's ready to go?
2 turf races, nothing really ready to fire on them. I'll have a couple of runners on them, but I would say that they're not ready yet. I think The South African horses are also taking a bit of time to come well. You know, a lot of them only actually started working in October. So we're actually quite behind the 8 ball in terms of that, which is, you know, I mean, this is unfortunately the nature of this whole thing, because, you know, if you think of, you have only got 10 meetings, but your horses are not going to be ready for 3 of them because of the travelling age, because they're not fit. They're not, you know, they're not, just timelines. You know, it's unable to have them fit because they weren't able to exercise in Mauritius. So 30% of your capability of earning is actually knocked out of the water because, you know, of the travelling.
It looks like...
What can we do? It is what it is.
Well, it looks like it's going to be a very difficult season, and certainly they look like there's more quality from overseas. But touching on that, I got a letter that was sent to Professor Sana. I think it's been sent to all the top trainers and whatever. And it's about this, sent by Winfried Engelbert Bridges, who's the vice chairman of the International Federation of Horse Racing Authority. But one paragraph that really interested me, and I know you've had the letter, it said, South African Industry Roadmap. Against the backdrop, it is unfortunate that a South African Industry Roadmap for overcoming AHS-related constraints on movement of horses was not available for consideration at the recent IMHC meeting. Do you know about this? What's the story?
James, does that just not leave you speechless and numb? I mean, we are going on about exports. We have an opportunity to present to the world, and we don't take that opportunity. I mean, I've known about everyone's known about the meeting since May when they were there for the that big conference that they have. And we weren't able to state our case. We've got a friend in Engelbert Bridges. He chairs this committee. He wants to bring horses into Hong Kong from South Africa. It's there waiting for us, and we did nothing about it. I mean, I don't even know what to say anymore. You know, it's little wonder we can't get funding and support. You know, it's like someone turning up to the chairman turning up to a Steinhoff board meeting and say, "Well, I'm sorry, I'm not prepared. I can't give you the figures." How long do you think you'll work for Marcus Joosten? Probably be swept out immediately. You know what I mean? I don't know who was tasked to do this or not do it, or who's supposed to, whose duty it was. But I mean, is it acceptable? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm overreacting.
Well,
you actually go cold.
Well, what is interesting was that actually they've gone to the trouble to attach, okay, and he says, I assist in this regard, I commissioned, this is how far he'll go, a working group to distill the discussions on the issue which took place on the IMHC plenary session. And at a special roundtable meeting held on 14th of December, a summary of the working group's conclusions is attached. And it's most interesting to read the summary because there they just lay it out in black and white. USE organised this PCR test and vector-free stables, and we'll try our best to accommodate your import of horses.
Yeah. Well, you know, as I said, we have a real friend in Winfried. And he wants to trade. He's driving trade out of Hong Kong, a massive, massive market. And there we were. We're sitting with bus tickets. We can't, we can't give them a roadmap. So, you know, if we can't give it to them, then how are we going to get things going? You know, I don't know, James. I don't know.
You're at the coalface.
Who's in charge?
What do we do?
I don't know what to say. I mean, that actually left me speechless because I thought we were going forward. That was a monumental, gigantic step backwards, not being able to present our case there. So where to from now? There was an opportunity.
Geez, Mike.
I don't know anymore. I wish you could get answers. You're out there, you're in left. Get somebody to give some answers.
Well,
someone has to.
What we're going to endeavour to do is interview Professor Sana because it was addressed to him, and we'll try and interview him at the CTS sale and have it here on Winning Ways. That's what we're going to endeavour to do, and see if we can give him a half-hour platform and see what he's got to say.
Every investor in this street is owed an explanation. And there's a lot of investors out there.
Are you going to be at the CTS sale?
And that's why people are not funding. That's why people are not forthcoming with funding, James. You know.
Yeah. Will you be there?
I will be there.
Excellent. We'll look forward. We can put it together. But listen, better things. Go and enjoy your smacking a few parkies around. And Mike, fantastic having you again on the show. And all the very best for the week. I hope things start really picking up nicely.
Cheers. Thanks, James. Thank you.
Mike de Kock from Dubai. And as you can see, we got big problems. And if he's exasperated by this whole thing, well, you cannot imagine how some of the big players must be feeling in this business. We will hope to bring you up to date with all the latest information on this in about 2 weeks' time.
Well, there we go. Very interesting interview there with Michael de Kock. And James, it's first I've heard of it, and it pains me to say it looks like we're just treading water again. I know you didn't say much on the air there. You were also dumbfounded.
I've read this letter from our Hong Kong friend, and he's obviously a very big friend of ours. And I'm horrified.
But James, there's got to be accountability. Someone's got to be accountable for this. Someone's got to stand up and say, it was my department, we weren't prepared, or what. It's been how many years, James? It's been over a decade we've been trying to push this through. And we're going nowhere. You know, with China getting involved now, China's a big spenders. Imagine our breeders if they could get $25,000 just for every horse. That's nothing.
You know, Paul, it goes deeper than this. It seems that whoever we get in to run this machine for us in trying to export horses misses the point. The point is simple. And it's so easy to see it. Find a place where we can export horses from, do the test on them, satisfy the rest of the world that that horse is African horse sickness free, okay, and send them. Who cares where African horse sickness is prevalent in South Africa or what it is in South Africa.
Correct.
Okay? We want to find out about getting horses out of here, point one. If they then want to talk about bringing horses into this country, then it's simple too.
Yeah.
Bring them into a vector controlled place, let them train from there, and then let them race and go out the country after they've done the PCR test again. But it is paramount that we start actually concentrating on only two things. Put a horse in a place which is vector control where there's no midges.
A freezer.
Freezer, okay, which we've had
Yes,
for
yes.
years and years and years
and
and
our
years
climate
and years.
determines when
and
it's
there's no
easy.
there's
Yeah.
never been a horse that's had horse sickness
that's gone.
in the quarantine station in Kenilworth. Never. In all these years that we've exported all these horses. To a test which we can do now in 24 hours, our professors tell us this is possible, and get the horses out here. But then you've got to convince the rest of the world that that can be done.
Yeah.
We've got a whole lot of guys pussyfooting around, okay, saying, no, we've got to know exactly where this and that and the other and how many midges there are and where they are and when they attack the horses and this. We don't, and I really hope we can organise to get Professor Sana.
We must do a couple of interviews down there. We're both going to be at the CTSO. They've got their studio there. We want to get some answers. Those of you out there who've been delegated to get this right, give us some answers. The public deserves to know. And I can hear just from Michael de Kock's reaction there that him, like you, are not very satisfied.
Well, you know, the difference is, and this is the huge difference. I'm a small player in this game, okay?
Yeah.
Doesn't really make that much difference to me, although in the long term it will make difference to all of us. Mike de Kock has been there at the coalface trying to organise this, trying to get horses out this country, trying to fly the South African flag for us, which he has done unbelievably. And he's sitting there saying, I'm exasperated. I can't believe this.
There's no accountability.
Okay, let's move on to better things. We've
got to go to give our sponsors a word.
Magic Millions. You've just been at the sale. It was an incredible sale.
Just before we do that, can we just go through their winners, their graduates who won?
Okay, let's have a look at them.
Let's go through the past week here. Here they are from the successful Magic Millions graduates: Flame Cat, Michael Azzi's horse, Highway Explorer, and What a Mission. All very nice horses and all doing well, all coming through the divisions. Those are our successful graduates. But you're right, James. I've just come back from there, and a major sale again. If it's an indicator to the year, I think South Africa are going to get figures going through the roof as well. Magic Millions are up by 18% or 20%.
That's an average. The average on 800 horses, the average was up over 15% right across the board.
Right across the board.
That is an amazing statistic.
Amazing. It was well represented, James. I think the international buyers, they spent 5.3 million. That's 53 million rand roughly, or just under 50 million rand on the horses there. They came from all over the place and they put their hands up. And the sales topper, interesting story with the sales topper, James. The sales topper was 1.2 million Australian dollars, and it was by the new stallion Sepoy, who was a great 2-year-old. He was a good 3-year-old as well, but he was a great 2-year-old, one of the best around. And Sepoy had won, I think it was a slip or something, and it beat a horse called Sister Madly. And Sister Madly was bought by these guys for $1 million Aussie dollars. They raced it on, they got 400,000 back, and they said, go to stud it. They put it to Sepoy, the horse to beat it. And the offspring is 1.2 million for them. And amazing. They ran 1 and 2 in the race, and their baby was the sale topper.
That's absolutely amazing. But what amazed me as an outsider was you got like the China Horse Club, which is like they're the new players on the block.
They are the new players. They only bought a few lots, James, but they spent They were outbid by Spendthrift on the top one. I think they beat Spendthrift on another one, on a Fastnet Rock.
Yeah, they paid 850,000 for it. But when you look at Spendthrift, that's America.
Yes.
You've got China Horse Club. You've got Singapore. You've got Hong Kong. I saw that the Hong Kong Racing Club bought a lot of horses. They put them on their sale. They resell them on the sale.
That's right.
Over 800 horses on the sale. And it goes
solid,
like clockwork. Eh?
Solid. Oh, it's well run. It's solid. And just to tell you the leading sires again, I wrote down the figures of the horses. Fastnet Rock topped it again, averaging 380 a horse. Reduced Choice 366, Sepoy 236, Schnitzel 243, Exceed and Excel 240, and Exceed and Excel won the big Magic Million $2 million race over the weekend. Northern Meteor 221, I'm Invincible, who's now his second year as a stallion, 208. And Medaglio d'Oro 200,000. So those were the big guns at the sales, James.
Interesting, they announced during the week that they've got a $10 million race day next year.
Year's time.
Yeah,
yes.
Year's time, $10 million.
Well, the horse who won the 2-year-old race was obviously eligible for it. You have to go off that sale.
Yeah.
So, and that horse is a young trainer. He's only got 3 2-year-olds. The runner-up in the $1 million race where David Payne had a runner cost $1,000. So there's hope for everybody, and the people were there buying and splashing out. I touched base with a good few South Africans who were out there when I said people who live over there, the best is the Paynes, the Tim Roberts. I saw Gary Bates. I saw Robbie Frad. Robbie Frad came and saw us. One more Whitmore. Paulie Whitmore's got a spelling farm out there. And I saw Glenn
Schofield.
Glenn, his wife, and his daughter. His daughter, who tragically lost her husband, who had won this race a year ago, they've named it after her husband, the race, the trophy, and she gave out the winning trophy. Quite an emotional moment again for her.
Yeah. And I saw Adrian van Vuuren bought a few horses.
Yes. Adrian was there with Mark Azzi, and they picked out some very nice horses. I saw what they bought, and Nicola Copez bought some very nice horses as well.
Yeah. Did she buy them to sell on at the Ready to Run sale?
I don't know, James.
I'm not sure. She paid $120,000 for one.
She bought an Exceed and Excel before the one won a big race.
Yeah.
And a new stallion Pluck. I bought a Pluck, and Mark Lassie bought a Pluck from the immediate family of Fighting Warrior.
Okay.
You know, so Michael bought some very nice horses. He bought a smashing horse from Coolmore too. So time will tell how they do, but it's a very strong sale. And I think if the trend stays, James, it's going to be a year where people are investing in horses again. There's a lot of syndication in Australia, James.
Yeah.
You meet these guys. I met the guy who does dynamic thoroughbreds, and him and his father have been doing it for 20 years. They go out and they buy the horses. They don't get influenced by any trainer, James. They just buy the horses, they syndicate, and they allocate to their trainers.
An interesting thing, just talking about the syndication, is that I know that there's a race put on for a women's syndicate.
Yes. It has to be owned wholly by women.
Yeah. And they get a special bonus if they win the race, the women's syndicate.
$500,000. And the horse that won the race was owned by a woman. So she got 340. The first 2 were owned by a woman. Funny enough, that big 2-year-old sprint, 11 in the field were fillies.
That's
yeah.
Just talking about getting to all these sales and things, you know, Phil Georgia is telling us that Let's Go Travel involved in not only putting together a Met trip to the Met. So if you want to go to the Met in a couple of weeks' time, you get hold of Let's Go Travel. But then Super Saturday and World Cup night is put together.
Yeah, those are two big ones. I never missed the Dubai one, you know, and I've done a few Super Saturdays. Yeah, just get hold of Phil and you can go there. I was talking to people who are coming out for our CTS sale, James. Yeah. There's a big interest in our CTS sale. I was speaking to the guy from TD and I was speaking to the girl who was going to come out from Fasik Tipton, Anna. Yeah. And a few bloods occasions.
22nd, 23rd of January, CTS, it's 200 odd horses.
CTS sale.
At the convention centre in Cape Town, like last year.
There's a lot of
big sale.
A lot of international interest, which is a very good sign.
Yeah.
Anything else from your side, James?
No, I think that's about it. We got a wrap, unfortunately, but
we got some thought. We got some food for thought with Michael de Kock's little tirade there.
We got 3 weeks of very interesting times leading up to the Met. We'll keep you involved. Next week we'll be back, and hopefully we'll be doing an interview with one of the leading women in horse racing. Should be very interesting. From Laf and me, you have a great week's racing.